that. And to start it off, really, I want to talk about the Knicks trade update. Now, a lot of people are asking, you have so many things to talk about. Why do you want to talk about trades? Well, there's a reason I want to talk about trades. Number one, we're very close or getting closer to the trade deadline. And we've talked about a lot of people, Doug, on this team. There are a lot of different players on this team that have a role and are part of Mike Brown's system consistently. And then there are other players, new players that have joined the team that seem to find it a little difficult to get consistent minutes. And one of those players is Guerschon Yabusele. So my main question was, and maybe it's early, maybe for some fans it is early, but I still have the question of, if it's not working, you're in a championship year, the Knicks clearly don't mind making moves if it helps them get to their goal of winning a championship. So my question was, is Yabusele going to be traded? So thankfully, I went to Ian Bagley, the person I always go to, and on this a great NBA insider as well. And on his show, The Putback, he answered the following question. Is it safe to guess that Yabusele will be on the trade block once his restrictions leave on December 15th? He states that Yabusele has not had consistent minutes under Mike Brown. And when he's played, it's been hit or miss. He's hit some threes, things like that, but nothing really substantial yet. But Bagley says his read on it is that Yabusele is going to get the timing and conditioning back he had last season in Philly. And he also said that with Leon Rose in this front office, they would not be aggressive in getting Yabusele if they didn't want to invest in him. So he does not think that they would pull the plug on December 15th or even before February regarding Yabusele and moving him. So Yabusele is expected to ultimately earn a consistent spot in Mike Brown's rotation. Now, that's great to hear, but in practice, we're not really seeing that. And I don't know if the New York Knicks are going to continue to wait for an impact that may not be there come the postseason when they need it the most. So my question to you is, do they trade Yabusele at this point? Do they hold on to him and see if it works? Or what is your plans going forward with Yabusele and this roster?
Well, I think Ian, who is always on point, always insightful, and always connected with the Knicks, lays it out pretty plainly. They have to figure out how to implement him in this roster, or they're just not going to pick up the second year. So basically, they're in this position where his value is depressed right now because, I don't know, did he come in out of shape? I'm not really sure. Is he just kind of getting his legs back from an offseason? I'm not really sure. But I would say my thinking is that his best minutes are yet to come, and he will have a game where he does actually break out, hit 2 or 3 or 4 threes in big moments, and they need to keep testing and seeing if he's ready to bring that out. Now, where it gets difficult is there are situations where he kind of is in on a rebound but doesn't close the rebound, or he misses an open three. Those are situations where it's really tough to leave this guy on the floor with the defensive questions and the inconsistency offensively. So I think what the Knicks should be examining from a trade perspective is, if they want to trade, the value in their assets in terms of players, I think, is still in Kolek and Dadiet and McCullough. Unfortunately, I really do want those guys to work out. But in terms of how do we get a piece from a seller, we're talking about like a 9th, 10th person on the bench. We're not going to get like a significant 20+ minute a guy rotation player at the trade deadline, I don't think. Unless there's some deal that I'm not seeing. But I think, do they consolidate some of the younger guys who are not exactly in the rotation and think about just a name, don't know anything, don't know how possible it is, a Keon Ellis type of a player? I think the Knicks are really thin. Where I see it is sort of connecting 3-4 wing type of players. That's where I see the most need. And that's why I know we're going to talk about him later. Diawara is somebody that I'd like to see play more, because I think with the Knicks' clear questions on defense, they need switchable players. They need switchable defenders that if you get put in a pick and roll and the ball handler is then facing up against a big, that big can move. That big can move feet. The big can hedge and recover, can double and recover. So these are the things I think the Knicks need to think about in terms of reshaping the roster. But I do think the Yabusele situation, it's way too early to just be like, oh, he sucks, like he's not useful in our rotation, because I don't think that's true. I think the value is coming.
This episode is presented by FanDuel. And shout out the channel sponsor, FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook, for giving us this updated information and these latest odds on who's going to win the Atlantic Division this season. And of course, the New York Knicks were dominating on top at -160. But right underneath them is the hot Toronto Raptors, who have been playing very good basketball as of late. They're at +420. Then right after them is the Philadelphia 76ers. They're at +500. Then the Celtics at +900. Then you got the Brooklyn Nets, and they're at +25,000. I think with Yabusele, the biggest problem I have with Yabusele, it's not more so, I think the offensive side will come. I believe that. I just think defensively, his court awareness at times is not where it needs to be. There are certain plays on defense where he falls asleep, or he understands the principles of packing the paint, shifting inside, but not shifting outside and sliding your feet to an opposing player, especially if you see somebody caught on the screen. So the awareness is not where it needs to be for Yabusele, in my opinion. Now, will it come? It's so early, like you said, Doug. So thinking about trades right now is a little crazy, but you understand why the fan base, why everybody else is doing it, because they understand what the season means. This is the win now season. This is the season where we could potentially win a championship in a weakened Eastern Conference. So I can understand why the trade conversations are out there. And, speaking about trade conversations, we might as well get to it. You spoke about the trade deadline, and you're right about that. There are many reports out there right now suggesting that the Knicks will be active at the deadline, either by trying to get a backup veteran point guard or perhaps a backup big. Actually, ESPN's Zach Cram stated that the Knicks actually could use a reliable backup center. And here's why he said that. The Knicks are rather well-rounded without any gaping roster holes. But given center Mitchell Robinson's injury history, New York could use another proven center as insurance for the postseason. Continuing a trend from the 2024-2025 playoffs, Robinson has been crucial to the Knicks' performance this season. New York has a plus 15.2 net rating when he's their center, according to Cleaning the Glass, compared to +7 when Towns is a lone big man on the glass. And then a +3 when Yabusele is playing. But obviously, as we've seen, even if the numbers suggest that Yabusele is plus at anything, when he is on the floor, and New York is struggling a lot, especially if he is only the lone center on the floor. But that goes back to the same thing, the trade deadline, the moves. He does have a point. Mitchell Robinson is being load managed right now. We're not using Ariel Huckporty for whatever the reason may be, maybe because of early struggles. But Yabusele doesn't even have the same impact anymore. If Mitchell Robinson does get hurt or needs to be load managed a little bit further, Karl Anthony Towns is out, we might be stuck at the center position without anybody that we can trust to really man it. So again, really go back to you, Doug. Do you feel confident with our lineup in terms of the roster and the backups that we have at center and point guard while we go to the trade deadline? Or do you think the Knicks can skip it and still be good with the depth that we have?
I think the Knicks are in a good position roster-wise. I think that saying that there aren't any real holes in the way that they're built when they're healthy is totally true. I think also Mitchell Robinson and the whole load management approach in general that the Knicks have taken this season, it's been frustrating at times, because then they find themselves undermanned in games that you feel like they should be dominating, and it's closer than you want it to be, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact that Mitchell Robinson is being so carefully managed means that you will get the full impact version of Mitchell Robinson, which you saw in the playoffs. You will get that in the playoffs. You don't need it in November. You don't need it in December. So what I've noticed with Mitchell Robinson, and you alluded to it in the last portion, the defensive communication for the Knicks is not great, and they still have like the 16th best defense in the league, which is obviously it's not great, but it's holding water-ish. So I think Mitch has been looking a little late on help. I think guys have in general been late on their rotations, out of position at times. So that's stuff that you clean up without a need for a trade. And also Mitchell Robinson, when he's in his full shape, like when his wind is up, when his ankles and legs are feeling good, he's early on the help, and him just even looking in your direction, if you're trying to drive and slash, makes you rethink what you're doing. So he will get there. I think the Knicks in general will get there. I really want to work on this perimeter defense issue. I like the zone worked on against Miami, and then they seem to try it again and lose touch with exactly how to communicate and how to in the second Miami game, the zone kind of went downhill. It took a dip. So it's obvious that Mike Brown is working within his defensive limitations the best that he can. Again, I think switchable defenders like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, who we've been without for a few games, and it makes you feel like the roster's incomplete because guess what? You're missing one of your best players and probably your best overall defender. He's not here right now. So, but I do think that working on these communication issues and these positioning issues and not putting out lineups that Dallas really picked on Jordan Clarkson, for instance. We need to figure out ways to mitigate these vulnerabilities on the perimeter. That worries me a lot more than the rim.
The 3-point defense. I think I've been one of the most outspoken people about the New York Knicks 3-point defense. I hate it. I think it's worse this year than I've ever seen it just because of how wide open every single person is. It's the philosophy of the defense, though. They want to pack the paint, stop the driving lanes. And, to be fair, they're one of the best teams at doing that this season. But they're also second worst in the league at defending the three and against the top 10 teams in the league who shoot the three so well and, have shooters all around. And then they can dominate inside if you leave them open inside. The Knicks are going to get torched in that way. So I definitely agree with you. I think the 3-point defense needs to get better. And I think Mike Brown has a way of doing it, or at least trying to do it without OG Anunoby. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.